We're here today talking with author Kara Ramirez about her book, Shatterproof: Practical Lessons to Help Navigate Difficult Moments. Kara, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Scott. It's my pleasure.
Why don't we start? Just tell us a little bit about your book.
Sure. So Shatterproof is really a self-reflective book about, really dealing with life's difficulties. It really offers valuable lessons, tips, tactics, some of those things that can be used to help address life's trials. And, the truth is we're all promised to experience trouble in this life. But that said, we don't have to become really helpless victims and who fall prey to, a miserable existence. In fact, while the enemy wants us to give up, God wants us to be victors over our circumstances. And this book is really a blueprint to help us all get started. So I share some personal examples to assist the reader in relating it to their own unique set of circumstances, and then really try to offer realistic ways that they can begin to overcome the difficulties that are facing them. So things that I found useful or helpful as I walked through or worked through the obstacles in my own life. And at the end of the day, while we may not choose our circumstances, we can choose our response to what happens to us. And this book provides valuable content to help us choose right responses when bad things happen. It's designed to provide valuable content, really to help us take control of our situations and get back in the game, rather than a silent observer who sits on the sidelines just hoping things will get better.
So when you talk about this, you shared that some of it's from personal experience and obstacles, barriers, different challenges that you yourself have faced. Would you say that's kind of your inspiration, or what? Was there a moment or more of a process of you sitting down to write this book, or is there kind of a light bulb moment where you're like, I should do this?
Yeah, so the simple answer is that I felt led to write this book. The more in-depth answer is that I was having a conversation with a very close relative of mine, and it was a difficult time in my own life, and I was, essentially unloading my burdens onto her. And at the end of our discussion, she really acted surprised when she said, "I had no idea that you were facing any of this." She said, "Really, you always seem like you had it all together." And so that really inadvertently, I realized that I had portrayed a version of myself, of my own life, which I'd never intended to do. Because in that moment, I recognized the power that exists in sharing our past struggles and really the triumphs that we've had with others. So the reality is that in our quest, or at least in mine, to deal with what I was going through, I created a missed opportunity to show those who are closest to me that I didn't have it all together. In fact, none of us have it all together. And by falsely portraying this to her, or albeit unknowingly, I was essentially putting pressure on her to pretend that she had to do the same thing. And so not only is it important to share our burdens with others, but they can learn how we walked through our struggles successfully, or really they can even learn from the mistakes that we made. And our decisions and our path can provide footnotes, if you will, that help others navigate their own personal journey. So really, that's the purpose of Shatterproof. And really, again, I couple tactics that I use to help me overcome the difficulties that I was facing. And I don't really expect every reader to replicate what I did, or really what anyone else does. But I do believe that the contents and the solutions that are offered will provide a starting point, or at least be thought-provoking to help them really start to address their own struggles.
Yeah, just leaving some wisdom and some practical advice with others. As we're
Yeah,
closing up our time together, anything else you want to share with our audience about your book?
sure. Yeah, I'd like to tell people who are interested in reading Shatterproof to get ready, because it's a self-reflective book that's designed to help each person individually. So we all experience trouble, but we do it differently. I don't pretend to have all the answers, but I do know the person who does. And my hope is that the pages of Shatterproof act as an instrument which God can use to speak directly to each and every reader his way. I don't know what you're going through. He does, and he wants to help you. He doesn't expect anyone to do it or to figure it out alone.
Kara, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing a little bit about your book, Shatterproof. We appreciate you taking time and yeah, just encouraging and challenge each of us. Thank you again.
Thanks, Scott.